Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, welcome back to Chris with the C. Hope you're all doing well. Thank you very much for joining me today. Guys, on the table we have the absolutely awesome Team Corally Syncro 4. Now, I firmly stand by what I said. This buggy, for me, offers the best price to performance here in the UK right this minute. This, in my opinion, is a great offering for many people, whether you're a budget basher or someone new to the hobby, even a more experienced person. Great value for money, and what they've actually given you is spot on. Now, take that as a use case in the sense of, that's my opinion, there are other opinions, all right? So it's all subjective, guys. But as I promised, we did send this off a big ramp. Flew absolutely amazing, came off the air nice and straight, and basically came down absolutely great. But I did have one bad crash, all right, and that did destroy the front wheel. When I say front wheel, the top control arm and bottom control arm, not major issue though. I wouldn't normally drive this buggy in that sort of manner. I wanted to kind of get a feel for it and see what it's all about. Now, the good thing is, I went straight on to Model Sport here in the UK, and I bought the parts for the car. So we're going to do that in this video. The good thing is, these parts only cost me a grand total of £12, I think it was. £5 for the top, also £5 something for the top, and I think that was around £6. But yeah, the good thing is with these parts is you can actually buy them singly. So with them being symmetrical, left and right, the top control arm and the bottom control arm, you can actually use them left or right. So there's no issues there. I'm going to repair those. The other thing is, I have got some new wheel nuts we're going to be popping on. These are, I believe, they're Arrma serrated wheel nuts. So I'm going to put them on with a little bit of Loctite to keep the wheels on. And we're going to upgrade the pinion as well. So we're going to go from a 13 tooth to a 15 tooth. Now, the reason why I'm doing this is I wanted a bit more wheel speed. I believe by adding the 15 tooth over the 13, you're going to gain a little bit more top end, a little bit more punch. And just generally get a feel for the vehicle again. So I want to get this ready. We have got an event here in the UK at Heatherton World 10BRC coming up on Saturday. So I'm quite looking forward to that. Overall thoughts of the buggy though, very good. Electrics are spot on. All right, the Max 10 rebranded ESC, no problems at all. Motor does get slightly warm, but what I will say is plenty of punch, plenty of speed. No real issues there. Servo holding up absolutely brilliant. Now, initially, when I kind of thought about it, obviously, I had this servo in the Kagama. Now, what you're going to remember with the Kagama is a lot heavier vehicle. So this servo, I will stand by what I said in my initial video, my first review. I think this is going to hold up just great at the moment. And when it doesn't, obviously, I'll upgrade it to a better one. The big talking point was obviously the shock towers. The shock towers they're robust. There's no real issues. As I say, when I did come down, I landed on the wheel. The rest of the cars held up great. Now, if you go and watch that video, guys, you will see we were sending them pretty high as well. But what I did break, as I say, was this control arm. So the good thing is I've got all the parts here for that, and there was a few little marks on the chassis, but the chassis, again, being a metal chassis, no real issues. What I'm going to do now, guys, we'll dive down, I'll get the camera and I'll show you the damage to the vehicle, and yeah, we'll start doing the repairs and we'll go from here. I'll see you in a second. Right, okay, so as you can see, guys, the actual damage we did was to this top control arm, and the reason being is obviously when the car landed, it landed on the this side quite heavily, and what it's actually done is split this top control arm, as you can see there, and it's also broken the bottom suspension arm, the control arm. But as you can see, it's actually cracked straight across where the screw is. So that might be something to do with the plastics, I don't know. But look, I was sending this pretty high. And in a normal case use of this buggy, normally bashing around, you're not going to be sending this 20, 30 foot in the air or whatever it is. Overall, everything else has been absolutely spot on. As you can see, no real damage to the vehicle. Skid plate, as you can see, there's a good few marks on it, but that, again, that's from normal bashing. But yeah, everything else is holding up just marvelous. No issues with the rear. Everything else is fine. And then under the chassis, as you can see, that's where I've been landing, and same there. So yeah, no problems at all. What I'm going to do now, guys, I'm going to put you in a bit of a time lapse. We're going to start working on this control arm. Let's get the front end sewn back up, and then what we'll do from there is we'll then put the wheel nuts on, and then I'll show you how to change a pinion out. Let's go from here. See you in a sec. Right, okay guys, so as you can see, there's the bottom control arm, and what it actually done is snapped out straight across like that. So the beauty of it is now is we've actually taken the front apart. As you can see, I've got the new control arm on. What you will need to do is obviously remove the front hinge pin holder from the front of the vehicle, and obviously the bumper, the skid plate, that goes in underneath there, and then you've got 2 screws underneath. And then obviously you'll get access to the hinge pin holder. Remove your hinge pin and then pull your arm out. So yeah, nice and easy to do, no issues there. What I'm going to do now is obviously concentrate on putting the parts back onto the vehicle. And then we'll also replace the top control arm. And I need to basically set this back up so we can put the arms back on here. But other than that, it should be great, this. No problems at all. You won't need to adjust any camber settings, because what you can do here, alright, is put your 2.5mm in and just undo the actual ball end here. So inside there will actually be a 2.5mm screw, and then you can just, watch now, I'll show you. Hold it and then just undo the arm like so. Put your new arm on, and then your camber and your toe settings will be absolutely fine, no issues at all. As you can see, very easy to repair. Make sure you keep the washers on the pillow ball ends here. See, if you look, there's one washer there. Make sure that stays on there, guys, okay? Right, I'm going to carry on working. I'll see you in a second. Right guys, so that's the front end sewn up, as you can see. All repaired, no issues at all. I did actually lose one of the spacers behind here. So you will need to, well, I say you will. I had to find another spacer to go behind it. But as you can see, no issues at all there. I'm going to put the front bumper back on now. And then, to be honest with you, what I might do is some diff work on the car as well. But anyway, for the moment, I'm going to just put the car back together. We're going to upgrade that pinion gear that we mentioned. I might do some diff work on the centre diff there. And then we should be ready to rock and roll. Swap over the wheel nuts and go from there. But yeah, awesome. Right guys, so wheels are all back done. I've Loctited them as well, so they're not going to come off. Front of the car is all back together. It's now standing under its own pressure. In the meantime, what I've actually done is remove the centre diff, okay? So it does look quite a good, decent quality spur gear here. And on top of which, the bearings all seem nice, typical Corally quality. You have got these little rubber bungs to go inside there, so remember to put them back in, guys, if you do decide to take your centre diff out. Now, the reason why I did this is because obviously we're going to be swapping the pinion over, and this is the first time I've had a chance to look at it. If you actually look here, guys, they're marked up 13, 15 and 17. So if you line up the corresponding holes, e.g., now I'm going for a 15 tooth pinion gear, so we're going to go move there to there and there to there. All right, and then that way we'll actually have perfect gear mesh. I will say, quite like this. You know, it's a lazy way of doing meshing, but my God, it saves some time. Going to give the inside of a chassis a bit of a clean out. Now, if anyone's wondering how we remove this, okay, as you can see, there's 6 screws on top of the diff cover. So you've got these 4 screws here. And also then, you need to remove the 4 screws underneath. See the holes there? One there, one underneath, one by there, one by there. So yeah, quite easy to get access to. I've got no issues with that at all. Let's change the pinion gear over now, shall we? So when adjusting this for the 15 tooth pinion, as you see, I've got it in there. But one thing to mention here, guys, okay, is you will need to actually apply a little bit of force here, I've found, okay, because the screw holes, as you can see, open right up. So if you look at the 13 and the 13 there, they're actually quite recessed, whereas the actual stock holes. So I recommend, if you can, maybe put a clutch setting on your drill and then obviously screw it in, and then just a little bit of Loctite into the actual hole of the motor, just to kind of Loctite it in place. Definitely when you're screwing metal to metal, put Loctite in, 110%. Same with your pinion. So this is the one we're going in with now. As you can see, that's a 15 tooth mod 1. When you're adding the actual grub screw, just put a little bit of Loctite in the actual hole to set it. But yeah, so far so good. Just something to point out, okay? Right guys, so I got the centre diff open. As you can see, it wasn't completely empty of silicone oil, so that's a good thing. I'm just checking over the settings for the diff oils according to Team Corally, and I think, to be honest, because I do a little bit of track use, a little bit of off-road, I'm going to go with the middle ground, which is 30. All right, so that will lighten up the centre diff slightly. Factory is actually 50,000, so I probably will go with what they recommend in here for off-road: 10, 30 and 7,500. I might actually just go 10, 30, 10, to be honest. You would see what happens. But yeah, I'm gonna top up this now, and then we'll put that back in the car. We'll set the mesh in for the gears, and everything should be a-okay. Happy days. It's a very easy car to work on, actually. Right, okay guys, so new pinion is in, and obviously we've topped up the diff fluid. There's a little bit of diff fluid still on the diff there, but as you can see, what you're kind of aiming for is smack bang in the center. So the pinion is in the center of the spur gear is in the center of the pinion. Make sure you're adding Loctite to obviously your grub screw on your pinion gear. Other than obviously the screw holes not being quite big enough, and I did use a little bit of force using my drill. Basically, everything is a-okay. Now, what you're listening for is this. There should be a little bit of rock. Yeah, does make things a little bit easier, I'll be honest with you. But right, okay, so put all the plastic parts back on now, put the car back together, and then we'll do the front and rear diff. Right guys, so while we're waiting for the rear diff oils to get all the bubbles out, basically leave them stand. One thing I will say, and it's become quite apparent while I'm working on it, is how easy it is to actually work on, and how well they've actually got it set up. For once, I will say as a manufacturer, what they've actually done is the diff oils were 3/4 full anyway. So all I've done is just top them up a little bit with the oils that were recommended in the manual. I've used the manual, actually, to be honest with you, to find out how to take the diffs out. And to be honest, the rear one, including the shock screws, there was only 8 screws to actually get it all out, so I was quite happy with that. So what we've done in total, we've done the centre diff, the rear diff, we've done the front diff, we've changed the pinion from a 13 to a 15, repaired the top and bottom control arms. I put a different set of wheel nuts on, and I've Loctited them. So fingers crossed they should be now ready for Heverton. What I will do in a moment is I will plug in the program card and actually check over the car just to make sure I got all the settings right. But I think she's ready to rock and roll. I gotta say, guys, and I've been talking to a couple of friends of mine, I'm very, very impressed with this car. for the price to performance, and how well each and every part has gone together. Like the shock towers were very easy to remove. Everything is just really nicely set out. Quite impressed, actually. Very, very impressed. Right, okay, pause the video here. I'm going to carry on working on the car, and I'll see you when we finish. See you in a second. Right, guys, welcome back. So, car's all back together. Diffs have been tuned. So, we've gone with the stock fluids, basically, for the front and rear. I've gone a little bit thicker on the centre diff. I'm trying to think what else now. 15 tooth pinions gone in there. We have bound up my FlySky GT5 to one of my receivers in there, and that is just a personal preference thing. I've got all my car models on here. Really can't recommend this handset enough. But to be fair, the Team Corally CT2S, I never had an issue with it. It was great, actually, to be honest with you. Never had a problem. Now, Olga is ready to rock and roll. I have checked over the ESC. We have turned up the BEC, so from 6 volts to 7.2. One thing to mention here is, and I will say, is the whole car is a very, very good quality for the money. And the parts are nice and cheap as well, so that really does help the price to performance scenario. So for what you get, it's a no-brainer, really, and I still stand to my word on that one. If you're looking for a really good 4S buggy to kind of go out, bash, have a bit of fun, you could run it around track. You might need to change your tyres depending on the location and where you're going. I think it's hard push to say no to this one, really. I wasn't even disappointed when I broke the arms. I mean, I have had other cars, and let's be honest, if I'd taken a heavy landing on the front end, you kind of expect them to absorb a little bit of that. But this one, I mean, I was pushing it well beyond really what I was meant to do. Let's be honest about this. The chassis, no issues at all. You know, that aluminium chassis is a big plus in my opinion. I'm looking forward to getting this back out. I didn't think I'd like this as much as I did. There's a few little caveats, you know, things to take note of. The other thing I like, actually, to be honest with you, is I'm going to say here, is this plastic composite arm they've put on the steering linkage. Now, some people will say, no, that's a bad idea. But when you're bashing, guys, what you've got to remember is all that stress of the things you bang into and bump into has got to go somewhere. And I would rather snap a composite arm. Let's say we have a nasty jolt, which, to be honest with you, probably would never really affect that. But I'd rather kill that than the servo. So, I mean, that composite arm does give it a bit more flex, but it still gives you positive steering. Overall, very, very impressed. The diffs were of a good quality. They came out fully greased, fully lubed up. I only done this for my own mindset, really. You don't have to check the car over on this one. I'll be straight with you. Just go out, bash it, enjoy it. I've done a few little changes to this. We're going to get the car out now in Heatherton World. Obviously, you've got 10 BRC's bash. I will definitely recommend you doing one thing, though, guys. 110% is changing the wheel nuts for some serrated wheel nuts, and then add some Loctite. Now, Corally is saying the wheels are serrated. I would rather go with wheel nuts. I'll be straight with you. I'd rather cut my own threads in and, you know, let the wheel nuts grab into the wheel. But yeah, all in all, top notch. Thank you very much for watching this video. Obviously, really do appreciate all the people watching the channel at the moment. Make sure you check the box for more videos. Keep liking, keep subscribing, keep sharing. Until next time, guys, stay awesome. I'll catch you later.